Okay, everybody. We're here to speak to my friend Andy, who knows something about these aqueduct works that we're standing in right now, and a little bit of the history behind them. So, Andy, go ahead, buddy.
Well, the way I like to tell the story is just when the pioneers and the people who were moving out west, when the westward expansion of the United States was taking place, a lot of people settled in these beautiful areas here with these canyons, but the only problem is they were really dry. They would get big rains occasionally, they would get some rains up in the mountains. There is a river that runs through here, but it's a smaller tributary river, so they would have to go all the way down to the river and fill up barrels, bring them up canyon just to be able to water their crops. So very, very soon upon arriving here in the late 1800s, they started building these ditches, these aqueducts, that most of the people here would call them ditches. And what they would do is they would dam up a little pond up the canyon, and then the ditch would have to just move slowly at just the right grade all the way down to the people, because if the grade was too steep, it would wash out the ditch. It took in this particular community, it took the people about 11 years to build this ditch, which was about a 14-mile from end to end ditch, 7 miles up canyon. And one really interesting thing, of course, they used to do it with rocks. They had rocks, even in some places, big pieces of wood. And it was so important that these guys had this ditch. It took so long to have it that once they got it, just similar to how the Romans used to hire the Aquarius to take care of those aqueducts and those bridges, those water bridges that we see in Roman architecture. The people here would hire what they called ditch riders. And these men would get up on these horses and ride this 14-mile ditch every single day. And one of their biggest jobs was, once they would get, if it ever rained, they had to get on that horse, sometimes on trails that were only 12, 18 inches wide. And we're going to show you some pictures later along the cliff sides where they gnarred out this ditch along the cliff sides even. They would have to, in rainstorms, ride their horses up those narrow ditches all the way to the top to shut the water off so that the ditch didn't overflow.
Oh, all right. That's fantastic. That's a lot of work for this.
And there's one story that I think is worth kind of telling. If you zoom in over there, you can see how the ditch actually went through the rock. There are several parts of this 14-mile canal that where that happened. And originally in the late 1800s, they were trying to make the ditch go through these tunnels using pickaxes. But lucky for them, it was kind of a miracle. There were some miners not too far from here looking for work, and they were able to get enough cash together to pay these guys to cut their work. I mean, in a tenth probably. They were able to literally get stuff that would have taken another decade done in one season, and they made the canal be able to go all the way through some of these tunnels.
Taking advantage of the expertise around them.
Yeah, because mining was a big deal in this area too. And that's one of the reasons why there's still gold in these hills. People would hide it, people would find it, people sometimes wouldn't come back for it.
Definitely an interesting prospect for me.
Yeah, the ditch riders were...
It's also going to catch floods, though, too, right?
That's exactly right. And that's why those ditch riders had to ride up canyon and shut the water flow down, because it would overflow with the flood waters that come off of these mountains.
Sure.
Every time it rains here, it's a flood.
Sure. I
So
was
if they
because I
didn't
was
shut
wondering
that
about
valve,
that.
they
Yeah.
would wash it away.
Okay.
So the ditch riders were very highly looked upon in their communities. They were brave people. They would leave their families in the dead of night because of a storm. And rocks would fall down off the ditch,
Sure.
off the hills above them sometimes, and there were fatalities.
Sure. Or slipping out from under you.
Exactly.
Sure.
A horse sometimes would lose its footing on one of those narrow portions of the trail.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Angie. That's
Yeah.
awesome. you guys heard about the canal here first. Pretty awesome stuff. We'll see you soon.